My favorite part in Korea or in Seoul is probably Hannam-dong. It just really reminds me of Saudi Arabia, like the lifestyle. And it's not not because necessarily I'm rich. Like when I walk there and I see the cars or see the house style, huge jeeps or the huge Mercedes. I think if you walk around in Hannam-dong, it would be the same thing as if you walk around in Riyadh. It reminds me somewhat of the area I used to live in Riyadh. Hi, my name is Batul. I'm from Syria and I grew up in Saudi Arabia. I've been living in 1 year, or for about 1 year now in Korea, and I'm studying computer science. Everybody knows that Korea is really good when it comes to technology, so I think that's what motivated me. One thing I like about Korea a lot is that you can walk around freely without like feeling unsafe. You can leave your things freely. Like when I'm studying here, I literally leave everything on the table and nobody like even looks at it. Really safe, really respectful community, I guess, as well. I think that's also a really nice part. I think comparing Saudi and Korea's safety a bit different. In Korea, I have a very positive overview of it. The most thing I like is that I have freedom to go out whenever I want, and I feel like back home you cannot walk on the streets a lot, but here I think I can like do whatever I want. I can go on walks, I can take myself anywhere I need to, and I think that's really positive for me. And recently, that it's a really important part of living and growing up. So I'm liking it so far. In Saudi Arabia, I would not say it's unsafe. It's just that there's not many public like outings you can exist in Saudi Arabia. It's most likely cars, as I said. So here it's more like people walk around more than cars, I guess. You can see people on the streets and stuff, but in Saudi, you can barely see anybody on the street, honestly. It would be weird for you to even walk around, I guess. But it's not really unsafe. It's mostly cars. It's a car city. Many Korean people have an image about Arabs in general that we're really rich. I would not say we're extremely rich, but I would not say we are like a third world country. What I think does it justice is that in Saudi, middle class is considered rich here. So it's just that the income in Saudi is way higher than here, but also things like lifestyle in Saudi is way more expensive than here. That's why it's only natural for the income to be a lot higher than here. It's not that we're too rich, it's just that lifestyle is a bit more upgraded there. But it is true that there's a lot of rich people as well. One thing Koreans that get shocked when I say is that the way I went to school back home is through a driver, and they kind of like find it very shocking or weird. But I think everybody does that. They're even not really rich people, just like middle class. Everyone has drivers that go to school, or at least the environment I grew up in. Because we didn't grow up really rich, but at least we could afford drivers to take us to school because there's no public transport. Also, one thing is that you would find a lot of families in Saudi have maids. I think most middle class people afford maids there. The house structure is way bigger than here. We mostly live in villas or like huge two-floor houses because Arabs like to have lots of kids and we're really huge families. I think it's normal for people back home to have maids, and it's not really like a luxury thing. It is luxury, but not very rich luxury. My favorite part in Korea or in Seoul is probably Hannam-dong. It just really reminds me of Saudi Arabia, like the lifestyle. And it's not not because necessarily I'm rich. Like when I walk there and I see the cars or see the house style, it reminds me somewhat of the area I used to live in Riyadh. I don't think it's very true that like a lot of people have Lamborghinis or expensive cars, but I think one thing you would notice is that all people have SUVs or big Jeeps since we are living in the desert, so people usually have bigger cars. We don't like really small cars. So you'd find a lot of people with like huge Jeeps or the huge Mercedes. I think if you walk around in Hannam-dong, it would be the same thing as if you walk around in Riyadh. That's the type of cars you would see. I think you'd see in Hannam-dong, I think you'd see in Riyadh. Obviously, I'm a Muslim, and I think in Korea there is not enough media coverage about Islam a lot. So I do understand that many Korean people don't know much about Islam. A lot of people don't know that we don't drink or we don't eat pork, but I've never really seen it in a negative way. I actually find it like really nice when they are curious and they ask me questions. And one thing that I get really asked about is prayer times. So we have to pray 5 times a day. We pray in a certain direction, which is facing Mecca and Saudi Arabia. When I'm praying, I cannot talk with people. So if you say something to me, I cannot reply to you. That's the only thing that you have to take care of. Like, we cannot talk when we are praying. I would be really happy if they get curious and ask me, because I think media does not do it justice, and there's also a lot of misunderstanding about Islam. I'd really like Korean people to ask me questions about Islam. As I said, like, the media does not do it justice when it wants to convey Islam, and a lot of the media also like brings Islam in a negative image. So I do understand like some people might have a bad overview about Islam, especially old people in Korea. What I would say is that what the media shows about Islam is all 100% not true, especially about like the image about women and women equality. I think there's lots of misunderstanding when it comes to that. Islam in reality it does not like mistreat any or like favor any gender over the other. Not just gender, but things in general, like being extreme, I guess. People think Muslims are extreme or like they'd be a bit too strict. I think media does not really show it well. If you really want to get to know Islam on a better level, I think it'd be better to like know it through a Muslim rather than just media. One thing we like to say in Arabic is that Islam is perfect, but Muslims are not perfect. So we try our best to follow the rulings of Islam, but it's also unavoidable that some people, of course, would do mistakes. That's the thing, is that if you see a Muslim person doing a sin, it's not necessarily Islam's image. It's just each person is on a journey on their own, and not every person is the same as other person. But at the end of the day, all Muslims are trying to just get closer to God and get closer to Islam. But of course, we're never perfect. So I think that's the main idea we would like to like display, is that you would still find people who do mistakes. Of course, we're not perfect, but we try our best, of course. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening to me. I hope you guys have a nice overall idea about Muslims, and this was Batul. Bye!